Experience Karen Hunter
in a completely different way.
Karen Hunter is awesome. The podcast.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're gonna love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of the Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. Check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.
I had a conversation, Brother Mayor and Karen, about Kendrick with a couple of well-known elder celebrities, and they're like, that's what we need. I'm not saying that he's perfect, but that's the direction we need to go in, because what's the point of black art if black art ultimately is not about liberation?
Period. Oh, we are here with Kevin Powell. That was his voice. W. Mondale Robinson, mayor of Enfield, and also the founder of Black Male Voter Project. blackmalevoterproject.org. What are you doing? You're going to be part of our Urban View Gives at some point. I've already made that decision. We have Mama Glow today for the month of April, because this is Spring 4th, and we need Black women. We need everybody in the midwifery, bringing life, bringing life into the world space. We need more, especially with our healthcare being under attack. But definitely your work should be held up. What are you doing? And tell us, inspire us.
Yeah. So listen, I think the beauty of Black Male Voter Project is, to me, I tell people all the time, Black Male Voter Project was created as a love letter to Black men and also vision. Like, I see you not in a vain way, but in a way that humans need to be seen so as that you're not left behind from your tribe. And I think when that came from 20 years of me doing politics and not seeing people acknowledge that the Black men that they want to talk to represents about 22% of Black men in this country, college educated, Greek, or church pastors, but that ain't the majority of Black men, right? Yeah. There are 9.6 million Black men that are registered to vote in this country. And of them, about 27% are super voters. Super voters mean they vote in every election. Mm-hmm. That means whatever the parties are doing has failed epically. So our job at Black Male Voter Project is to look just like the community, to be a part of the community, to be in community all year long. And we don't act as if elections are end all be all, because that transactional nature does not sow transformative behavior. So our job is to create more super voters out of Black men. And we do that by showing up in places Black people don't do, or Black organizations, civic engagement organizations don't normally show. So we have a nightclub ambassador program that partners with party promoters, DJs, club owners, and we're in the club in the VIP, inviting brothers up to come have a shot, and also have a conversation about what you think politics mean to you. And we have these conversations called Brothers Be Voting, which are that vernacular chosen intentionally, right? And it's different than a political focus group in that we only allow 2 super voters or politically active people to those conversations, and we try to have 74 people who are not politically active. One reason for doing that is we don't want the political people to change and have the party ideas being overbearing in the conversation, but we also want to show them, so they can go back to the party, how off and different their thinking about what it means to be Black man is. And what we've shown and found out from these conversations, which we try to have 5,000 of every year, is Black men have a political point of view. There are no apolitical Black men. There's no apathy that exists in Black men. There's a level of antipathy for the political process, but antipathy is a completely different emotion. So our job at Black Male Voter Project is trying to figure out how to erase that antipathy, that hate, so that it does not create inaction. It creates motivation. So we provide Black men with housing. If they're homeless, we try to find them jobs. We sit in as an interview ambassador, meaning if the company would allow us to take what we know about the Black man and do the interview for them to get them the job, we do that. We buy them clothes to get them prepared for their job interviews. Love it. We do whatever basic need that's missing in Black man lives, we try to show up in that way. And of course, we do some of the traditional stuff where we knock on doors and we have conversations. But most of the time you see us, we just look like Black men in the community, Black men of the community, because that's who we are. We try to organize brothers who are in what the world call gangs. We call them street tribes, and let them know that they are already more organized than most political parties. That's right. They turn those numbers into votes. It is not illegal to get a paycheck from parties and candidates that are running for office. That just makes you a political consultant. And I think, so we're training brothers how to think about this political space as also job opportunities, as spokesmen, true spokesmen for them, not these social class fake influencers, but real people who are of community. So we're doing that work. And then one of our biggest programs is we have this thing called No Cap conferences where we are building
Mm.
out the political process in battle rap culture. So we're not talking about these professional rappers, but battle rappers, battle rap league owners, and we're partnering with them doing conferences, teaching brothers about what their political space is and how much space they hold and control they hold over young black men, and telling them how to be politically correct and also to prevent their platforms to be from being used by this mis and disinformation. So that's a lot of the work that we do.
This is
Mm.
this is it, Karen, Brother Mayor, what you just laid out was brilliant. And one of the things that bothered me about 2024 is how people were blaming black males for Trump's victory. You know what I'm saying? That's a simplistic approach to it because, one, let's go back to the fact that Biden said he was going to be there for one term, he's going to step down. He didn't do that. You know what I mean? Regardless of what people may think about Kamala Harris, she had all of 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. And to try to put together anything in 3 months is impossible. And what was included in those 3 months was folks trying to have a conversation with black males that Brother Rob was talking about. We've been ignored basically for several years. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't participate, we don't vote, anything like that. And you have to engage. I mean, I believe that this is a template that Brother Robinson just laid out for the whole country. You want to know how to engage black males? Well, this is what you got to do. Here's the language we speak. Most of us, we got at least 3 generations that are hip hop heads at this point. Am I right, Brother Robinson?
That's a
At least
fact. That's a
generations.
fact.
If you're not using the culture as a way to reach us, he said no cap, brothers be vote. I mean, like this is the language, and it's like black women and black men are differently. We do need to come together in different ways, in many ways. But I'm like, we have to reach folks differently. It's just real like that. And I think that one of the tragedies of all of this is folks trying to make it seem like, and this is the point of our film, and I can't wait till you see it, Brother Robinson. We are actually whole human beings. We actually have thoughts. We actually have feelings about fatherhood, about manhood, about this country, about history, all of it. But most of the time, Karen, no one even bothers to ask us what
That's
we
true.
think.
Yeah. Karen, you mind if I hop in? Because the brother said something extremely important. 2024, you're absolutely right. We saw a lot of information, a lot of noise around the blaming of black men for not supporting Kamala. But what I do know is people aren't willing to do deep dives on that information. And black men have always been an easy scapegoat. I mean, when the KKK wanted to reform, the first thing they did was put out Birth of a Nation and send it to the White House, and Woodrow Wilson played it for them, right?
Yep.
So they had all the white women and all the white men afraid that black men were going to get free and start raping white women. When in actuality, there's a history show that white women during slavery was raping black men and then letting their white husbands kill them when their babies came out brown. But that's a whole nother segment. Let me say something about 2024. A couple things need to be said. First of all, the setup, you started it, brother, when you said Biden stepping down so late, leaving Kamala with 100 days, right? We know that the Democratic Party has not accepted fault for this flaw. If George Clooney was going to put pressure on Biden, why wait till 100 days? This is an arrogance to sell. You've told people for the history of this country that it take a year, at least 2 years, to win a presidency, and now you're gonna give this black woman 100 days,
3 months.
right? So I think that's the first flaw.
Yep.
Secondly, a politician, this is the problem that Kamala had. A politician trying to introduce themselves during an election year will always seem transactional. You're
Yep.
coming to people that you don't have relationships with, asking them for their vote is a transaction. There's no relationship, there's nothing to know who you are. You're just saying what every politician has said before you. So she was up against hundreds of years of history in that case against black men. To be exact, 155 at this point, years I'm talking about since the passage of the 15th Amendment. Then lastly, there has been no increase. Let me say this, and I need people to hear me because I own more data on black men voting habits than any organization in this country. There are no increase in black men supporting Republicans since Donald Trump came on the scene. 2016, Donald Trump got more black men vote than he did in 2020. And even when he wasn't on the ballot in 2022, black men were the most progressive people showing up in ways that nobody even thought, right? We watched black men in Ohio outperform everybody for women's right to choose in 2023. We even outperformed Black women. We voted 8% higher than Black women. 88% of Black men voted for women's right to choose, 80% of Black women. We even voted more for women's right to choose in Ohio than we did for the legalization of marijuana. And it wouldn't make national news. And I was trying to sell it to people and they wouldn't take it. Furthermore, in 2024, you did not see an increase in the number of Black men that voted for Donald Trump. What you saw was a decrease in the number of Democratic voters
That part.
participating in the election by almost 6 million votes. So the percentage looks higher. The percentage
That's right.
looks higher because there's less of us participating.
That's
That is
right.
that is a slap in the face to Democrats and their strategists from Black men saying we will no longer allow you to prostitute our vote. You will work for it. We demand it. So, and what we see though is the Democrats being tone deaf to what Black men said in 2024. They're still using the same consultants. They're still rewarding the same people who lost 22 and 4. They're still rewarding the same people who do not know how to reach Black men, Black people, Black men specifically, with these contracts where people can fail up. These people in DC can't reach us. So you said something that's power. Black Male Voter Project was the first national organization to speak to all Black men, right? I believe that it is the job of Black Male Voter Project to not be a national organization. So this is why we launched a training arm called Black Male Equity, where we're trying to train other organizations that are of community, that are local in all of these states, how to do the Black Male Voter Project model. And then whenever they're up and running, we can be out of that state. We don't need to be everywhere. We should be in one or two spaces, and we should have local organizations doing this work so that people can have transformative relationships.
Stick
I
and
mean,
move, and every place needs something different. So,
Every place needs something different.
oh, I
Mayor
love
Robinson,
this.
I'm not going to call any names. I know many of these brothers and many of these organizations, but one of the things that I was so disgusted about, Karen, when Kamala started running, was that under the guise of recreating what the sisters did with Win with Black Women, that started first, was all these folks who popped up who said we're going to get Black male voter turnout, but what it turned out to be was a money grab. You know what I mean? It turned out to be a money grab. Let's call it
Yeah.
what it is.
I'll call their name. Kalia Thompson launched it. Him and Blake. And I told Michael Blake and Kalia Thompson, y'all cannot continue to start new organizations every election cycle. I don't care. I call names because it's true. These people have started a new organization almost every election cycle. And what they told us was for the people that were already doing this work, Black Men Bill was doing this work, Black Male Voter Project, and also BMI, Black Men Initiative in Georgia, John Taylor. They told these guys sat in our face and told us, "Oh yeah, we're just going to be a clearinghouse. We're going to try to bring some of these people because of our connection to the party, because of our establishment insider rate. We're going to bring these people to y'all and let y'all explain to them what needs to be happening, and also where the funds need to be going. We're not even going to have a bank account, but what they do." They didn't even do what the sisters did. The sisters raised money and sent all of it to
All of
the
it.
Kamala campaign. Them boys raised money and kept all of it. Try to give us a $10,000 check. $10,000 can't even pay for us to knock on 1,000 doors. We have to pay brothers a
What?
livable wage. Yeah, that's what happened.
Karen,
It is,
all the
I
it is
didn't
a
black
even. I
disgusting
didn't.
thing.
Why wasn't this? I didn't hear
Karen,
any of this
Brother Mayor Robinson
anywhere.
is right. The sisters sent all the money that they raised directly to Kamala Harris.
They
No.
absolutely did.
The brothers, certain brothers, dot,
Wow.
dot,
I didn't
dot.
know this.
Yeah,
Y'all
and then
ready to
it
be?
became this huge elite call. They got on the call, they spent an hour joking about fraternities, joking about, which fraternity is the best. And I'm like, you guys are missing the mark. The problem with that,
Mm,
it became gospel, and everybody thought, oh yeah, we got Black men locked up. But that's that same 20% or so Black men that are already super voters or regular voters. And in that conversation, you lose the brothers who don't know what an Omega or a Kappa or
that's
Alpha
right.
is because
No
they've never
idea.
been on a college campus.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's
These
right.
brothers are
That's right.
struggling, and that they were never included in that conversation. So much so that the people that were organizing Black men kept getting pushed and back to these 3 hour calls, and all they would do is bring in famous people, more famous
That's what
people.
it was.
And it was
Wow.
like you're
Wow.
talking at Black men, and that ain't never been the sauce to win anything.
And so when I say
Come.
celebrity industrial complex, it actually now includes a whole class of so-called black activists, black influencers. They ain't just the rappers and ball players we're talking about. In fact, I think the activist influencers are actually more dangerous than the ball players and the rappers. You know what I'm saying? Because
Absolutely.
That's a
it
fact.
becomes about
Absolutely.
it becomes
Absolutely.
about being a gatekeeper. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
And all you gotta do is follow the money, like Mayor Robinson said. And that until we unpack all of that, how are we gonna have any other conversations? Because Brother Robinson brought it up. Not only, and you brought up, Karen, not only was Dr. King wildly unpopular, but let's not forget Dr. King got the Nobel Peace Prize at 34. Dr. King came from the black middle class, the so-called black elite of Atlanta, Georgia, but his allegiance was with the people. Poor
That's
People's
right.
Campaign at the end of his life. We're sending poor blacks and poor whites to fight poor Asian people in Vietnam. He was talking about economic justice, economic empowerment. He was clear, this is not about me, my PhD, my Nobel Peace Prize, my fame. This is about the people. What are we doing for the people? And if you're not doing, whoever's out there listening, if you call yourself an elected official or an activist, an influencer, a business person, and you're not doing anything to move the needle for the people, then you're not on the side of the people, period.
That's right. Show your receipts. I didn't even know people were getting money.
Oh,
I
Karen,
was
we're
just
gonna have a
looking.
fall
I was
off.
like, can y'all listen? I was like, can y'all just advertise on Urban View? I didn't know people were getting checks. I didn't
Mayor
even
Robinson and
know that there
Karen,
was
we should
money
have
on
a
the
call,
table.
three of us after the
Shocking.
show.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
know. I want to know and it was so disappointing because a lot of folk, because I'm not in these cliques,
Right.
I would, big up their names or whatever, not knowing. So I'm glad you named names,
yeah,
Mayor Robinson.
yeah. Listen, I think, and you just said something that was powerful, and I hope people didn't let that go over your ear because that's not a selfish plug. Why $1 billion was spent?
Yep.
Why?
Urban View got
Where
not
was
a
your 10
dime.
million? Where was your $20 million in
We didn't
advertising?
get it. We didn't get any of that. We didn't
Think
get. They
about
ran
that.
some ads in the last week.
Think
I
about
was
that.
like, we've been.
But
Yeah, it was
ABC and
wild.
NBC and CNN got some of it. And
Yes.
I mean, I hate to be name dropping on networks, but
No,
let's
let's
be
go.
clear. We know that majority of black people are not watching CNN, MSNBC. And you have a larger fan for the people that they needed to turn out. They should have been talking to you. They should have been talking to Road. Those people it's absolutely dastardly to me. And I tell you something. Here's my problem. Then when I hear black people trying to do the rundown on folk that do get advertisement dollar, it tells me how far behind and out of this political space we really are. And I think you see the people who feel, though, there's the person who was in charge of black men outreach, the deputy campaign manager, right? This brother just filled up to $50 million went to the org that he's associated with. They lost, and now he's an expert on elections at George Washington.
Yo, failing upward.
Experience Karen Hunter
in a completely different way.
Karen Hunter is awesome. The podcast.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're gonna love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of the Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power, a 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. Check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed.